If I told you the biggest reason your ads aren't scaling isn't your ads, would you believe me? Most brands obsess over tweaking Meta or Google ad setups and creative, but almost nobody talks about the real moneymaker, optimizing the customer journey with your landing pages and your checkout flow. And that's what I call conversion rate optimization, or CRO. The crazy thing is, the biggest CRO wins often come from places most brands never even think to test. With just a few small tests, I've seen smaller 6 to 7 figure brands 2 to 3x their business, and larger 8 or 9 figure brands add 20 to 30% in just a short period of time. And I've seen it across dozens of fast growing direct to consumer D2C brands. For those who are new here, I'm Austin Bitsis, a growth marketer who's managed over 500 million in ad spend and generated over $1 billion in revenue. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact CRO system I use for 7, 8, and even 9 figure brands. Plus, at the end of this video, I'm going to share 20 CRO tests that you can implement today to scale faster. Hey, I just want to add, if you're like me and listening in the car or at the gym or on a walk and you're maybe trying to take screenshot, don't stress out. I put together detailed notes on everything I cover in this video, and you'll find a link in the description below. And this includes all the 20 tests that I talk about in this video and detailed notes that you could either follow along if you're, like, say, at your desk, download on your computer, you could share with other people. So those will be in the description below. So feel free to just sit back, relax, and listen to this video and download those notes. So let's break this down. When most people hear CRO, they think landing page tweaks, maybe swapping copy, testing pricing, or moving a button, maybe building a new page, right? But done without consideration of the customer journey, you'll never see the real wins come to fruition. All right, so the truth is, CRO is a full team effort. It's the ads team creating the first touch point, the media buyer targeting the right audiences, and the copywriters, the designers, and the developers building that landing page. And then finally, the lifecycle team, or sometimes called the retention team, to re-engage non-buyers through email and SMS flows. All of that together makes up the customer journey. When those pieces are aligned, that's when you unlock that 2 to 3x scale I mentioned earlier. So CRO isn't just about fixing or building a landing page, it's about optimizing the entire journey. So here's how I define CRO, or conversion rate optimization. Conversion rate optimization is simply optimizing the entire customer journey, removing friction, educating your audience, and meeting their needs while also serving your business goals. Done right, it's a win-win. Customers get a smoother experience and your brand gets scalable growth. So by customer journey, I don't just mean a landing page. I mean every step from the ads to the landing page, through the checkout flow, to the thank you page, and into the email and SMS series that follows that, and even into those repeat purchases. So at every step, you're either reducing friction or adding friction, building trust or creating doubt. CRO is about identifying where you're losing people and fixing it. So now let's talk about the biggest misconceptions I see around CRO. These are the traps brands fall into all the time, and if you're still thinking this way, it's going to hold you back. So misconception 1 is copying competitors is the fastest way to scale. So this is a misconception, and this one gets brands in trouble a lot. I can't tell you how many health brands that I've worked with and seen just try to rip AG1's, Athletic Greens funnel and fail. So here's the truth. Copying competitors without thinking about your own unique selling propositions, your USPs, your price point, your audience needs, is a recipe for disaster. And yes, you can learn from competitors, but the second you blindly clone their funnel, you're designing for their customer and not your customer. So misconception number 2 would be CRO is just about improving conversion rate. This is one of the most dangerous myths. CRO isn't about chasing a higher number on a dashboard. Sometimes you'll get actually lower or make no change to your conversion rate, but you raise average order volume, you boost subscription rate, you increase lifetime value or LTV, and that's a win. The goal isn't about a high Shopify conversion percentage. The goal is better business economics. You'd rather have a 5% conversion rate at a 10x scale than a 7% conversion rate at plateaued growth. So it's your ability to scale. Misconception number 3 is conversion rates are comparable across brands and categories. Here's the reality. Conversion rates are massively contextual. CPMs, CPCs, category demand, the level of customer need, competitive intensity, price points, all matter. Broad industry benchmarks put the average e-commerce Shopify conversion rate around 1.4% in 2024, which at least should make you feel good about your brand, hopefully, I hope. But the number is meaningless without context. The better benchmark, your own incremental improvement and your ability to scale profitably. CRO is about sustainability as you scale, not vanity comparisons. Misconception number 4 would be design drives conversions. And now, so yes, clean design matters. It builds trust, it builds credibility, but design alone won't save you. I've seen scrappy, almost ugly looking pre-sale pages beat beautiful, well-designed product pages, not because they looked better, but because they matched the audience needs and intent. Design support CRO, but the real driver is clarity, alignment, and trust. And this is where a lot of CRO hype falls apart. You'll hear agencies brag about 8, 10, even 20% conversion rates without ever talking about traffic quality, audience intent, level of scale, or even if that data is even statistically significant. Without that context, those numbers are meaningless. So let's dig into those 2 foundations because they'll completely change how you'll see CRO. So now let's talk about the 4 pillars of CRO. So instead of chasing vanity conversion rates on Shopify or ripping off competitor pages, here are the 4 pillars I focus on in every brand. These are the levers you can actually control inside the customer journey. If done correctly, it will help your brand scale. So let's talk about pillar 1 first. Pillar 1 is ad to page alignment. So the first pillar is alignment between your ads and your landing page. This is where most brands lose people instantly. If your ad speaks to one problem, but your page doesn't carry through, you've already broken the trust. So for example, imagine an ad about laser hair removal for men's neck hair. But when you click through the website, the landing page is all pink and doesn't have a single image of a man. Instant disconnection. Or let's say a probiotic ad that talks about regular poops or bowel movements like seed probiotic, if you've heard of that. But when you land on the page, it's all about features like clinically studied strains with 0 mention of regularity. That's a mismatch in the language. Your ad and your page need to feel like one seamless conversation. And that's pillar number 1. All right, so now let's talk about pillar number 2. So the second pillar is your page structure and messaging. This is where you answer the question every customer is subconsciously asking. What is in it for me, right? For your audience. Most brands make the mistake of leading with how great they are, right? How great the brand is. Let's brag about like our features or our brand story, but customers care about their own life, their own problems. So your page has to answer these big questions. What are you selling? Why should I care? How fast can I get it? How will it make my life better? How does this compare to other options? And if I don't like it, can I get my money back? If your page doesn't hit those questions clearly, people are going to bounce. All right, so now let's talk about pillar number 3. Keeping this really straightforward, pillar number 3 is building trust on site. So the third pillar is trust. Customers need to know they're making the right choice. They need proof right on the page. That could mean clear return policies without leaving the page. It can mean a guarantee that takes the risk off their shoulders. This could mean social proof reviews, UGC testimonials, before and after pictures or stories, clinical studies that shows people just like them getting results. Think about it. If your ad was about solving constipation, just to go off this probiotic one, your page should have relatable proof. People who actually had that problem got relief. Trust isn't about vague claims. It's built by showing outcomes your audience can see themselves in. All right, so now let's talk about pillar 4, what I call checkout and lifecycle CRO. This is the most overlooked area of CRO in my opinion. I've seen brands spend hundreds of thousands of dollars optimizing their ads, their landing pages, but leave massive leaks in their checkout flow. Things like sticker shock, unclear shipping costs, forgetting to reinforce guarantees right before the purchase. These can tank add to cart to purchase rates, which you should be tracking. Checkout CRO is usually the biggest low-hanging fruit. Multiple payout options, express checkout, clear returns, reinforcing trust at the moment of purchase can unlock huge wins. And there's life cycle. Not everyone is ready to buy on their first visit, their first time they land on your page, especially for higher ticket products. You need to capture email or SMS, so phone number, so you can follow up with them. Otherwise, you'll just be renting traffic from Meta or Google Ads and paying every time you need to re-engage your audience. Lifecycle flows such as cart abandon, welcome series, win back are how you finish the customer journey without paying the algorithm gods again. So those are the 4 pillars: alignment, messaging, trust, and checkout/lifecycle. Every CRO win I've seen falls into one of these categories or pillars. Now, as promised, I'll give you 20 specific tests you can run under each pillar. The exact ones I've seen unlock 2 to 3x growth for brands, or for larger brands like seeing 20 to 30%, sometimes even 40% growth for a lot of these. So let's get tactical, because honestly, I'm a specialist, not a YouTuber. I hate high level concepts when they're not tied down to actual takeaways. So that's why I'm giving you 20 CRO tests you could start planning today, broken into the 4 pillars we just discussed. These are the kinds of big swing tests that when they win, they actually move the needle on your revenue, not just vanity metrics. All right, pillar 1, which as a reminder is that ad to page alignment. So this is where you can unlock some of the fastest CRO wins, because most brands completely overlook it and might be testing 5 or 8 different ad angles to customer personas, but then drive all of them to the exact same page, which is just their generic landing page. So test 1 is mirror your ad headlines dynamically. So I'm going to explain what this is. So one of the simplest, most powerful tests is to mirror your ad headline or your messaging on your landing page. This taps into confirmation bias. When people see the exact promise from the ad repeated on your landing page, they subconsciously feel like they're in the right place. And here's a more advanced option. So you don't just have to hard code your headline that matches your ad. If you've got a developer, or if you're on a platform maybe like Replo, if they have this feature, you can actually tie dynamic headlines to your UTMs, to your ad UTMs. That way, if you're running ads for multiple angles, digestion, bloating, energy, the landing page headline automatically matches the angle that they clicked on. I've run this test before and I've seen immediate lifts in both time on page and conversion rates. All right, so let's talk about test number 2, which would be match visuals across angles. So headlines are only half the story. Visuals matter too. If you're testing 5 to 8 different angles, as we discussed in your ads, maybe one talks about women in their 40s, another to men in their 20s, another to athletes, then your landing page should reflect that. So brands just send all of their traffic to the same hero image. Instead, test matching your imagery to the persona or the problem your ad is speaking to. Track if it impacts bounce rate, time on page, and ultimately conversion rate. This is one of those big swing tests that can make your creative testing program way more effective, and ultimately your unit economics of your brands that much more effective, which is improving the customer journey, which is CRO as we're talking about. So test number 3 is intent matched pages. Not all traffic deserves the same page, the same landing page. If someone comes from Google searching best probiotic for regularity, They already know that they have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution. In that case, sending them to a well-designed PDP or a review style page can make sense. But if they're coming from a cold meta ad where they might not even realize that they have gut health issues, you need to start with education. That's where pre-sale pages such as listicles, advertorials, quizzes often outperform. I've seen crappy but intent-driven pre-sales beat a brand's best PDP by more than 3x. I've honestly seen this 3 times higher the conversion rate or a third of the CPA just because the page met the customer at the right stage in their journey. So test this, split your traffic by source and try PDPs for high intent paid search traffic versus pre-sales for colder social traffic. Or it could be debatable if you're targeting maybe more mid-funnel paid search traffic and retargeting in social, but just take that concept for your test 3. So test 4, third-party validation pages. Here's another underused lever, third-party validation. Customers trust publishers and reviews more than they trust your own brand copy. That's why review style landing pages from third parties convert like crazy. You can do this by working with a publisher on a pay per performance basis. I've seen brands crush it with this strategy because the customer feels like they're getting an unbiased take. If you're interested in working with third party publishers that don't charge a flat fee, like those big Forbes or Good Housekeepings or anything like that, but work solely on a pay per performance basis, I'll leave a link to a form with you to connect with a publisher partner who can help set this up. All right, so the final test, test 5 under pillar 1, so add to page alignment, would be CTA consistency across ad, page, and checkout. One last test in this pillar is consistency of your call to action. If your ad says try risk-free, then your landing page CTA should also say try risk-free, not buy now or shop now. And that same language should carry into your checkout. Most brands think of this as a small thing, but I've seen consistent CTA language give lifts because it reduces micro doubt. Customers hate feeling like the deal changed once they've clicked. All right, so that's pillar 1. The core idea is simple. Your ads and your pages should feel like one continuous story. When you align those pieces dynamically, matching headlines, visuals, page type, and even CTAs, you're reducing friction and building trust from the very first click. So now let's talk about pillar 2, landing page structure and messaging. The second pillar, so most brands think this means just throwing features on the page, but the winners are the ones who structure the page around what the customer actually cares about. Here are 5 tests to run under this pillar. The first test, test 6 from this list of 20, is add a comparison chart block. All right, so comparison charts are one of the highest impact modules you can test. Customers are always asking, is this the best option? So don't make them guess, show them. This should be your probiotic versus other probiotics. Or if you sell, let's say, mushroom coffee, compare it to the alternatives like regular coffee or energy drinks. And you can highlight whatever matters most to your audience. Is it third-party testing? Is it clinical proof? Is it pricing, subscription savings, or even a guarantee? This is key because it highlights the differentiating factors your customers actually care about. Ask them, look at your reviews. Do people mention immunity, organic, risk-free guarantee? Then put that in the chart. When you show those USPs, unique selling propositions clearly, you make the decision feel safe and obvious. All right, so test 7 under this pillar is above the fold focus and sticky CTA, as I call it. So most people won't scroll below the fold, as it's called, especially on mobile. That means your above the fold section has to do the heavy lifting. So test building in mobile first when you're building these landing pages. Make sure that within the first scroll, customers know what you sell, why it matters, and how to take action. And here's a simple but high impact test. Add a sticky CTA button that follows users as they scroll. If your CTA is always visible, You reduce drop off and make it easier for people to actually act in the moment that they were ready. This is huge on mobile because customers often don't scroll or scroll further down really quick, get distracted, and never come back to that CTA button. Okay, so let's talk about test number 8 under this second pillar, which is rewrite features into benefits using customer language. So this is a classic but still underused copywriting technique. Rewrite your features as benefits. Customers don't care about vitamin B12. They care about waking up energized without crashing or staying energized through the day. And here's the kicker. Don't just make this up. Talk to your current customers, call them, read their reviews, run surveys. Why do they care? And why did they buy? Then take those real words and turn them into benefit-driven copy. I've seen 20 to 30% lifts just from replacing feature dumps with customer-driven benefits. All right, so test number 9 under this pillar would be pre-sale formats. So these could be listicles, quizzes, review pages, or other pre-sale landing pages. And now, not all traffic should see the same landing page, the same page. If someone's searching on Google for the best probiotic for regularity, which we've already discussed, they are already problem aware and solution aware. They just want the best option for them specifically. A PDP or review style page may work, but on cold traffic, they might not even realize they have a problem. Dropping them on a PDP will often just not perform. Instead, test a pre-sale format, a listicle like 5 reasons gut health impacts your energy, or an advertorial that feels like an article speaking directly to them that they can relate with. Quiz flow maybe that helps them self-diagnose and even give your audience a personalized solution. You see this a lot in health brands like Seed in terms of this probiotic. These pages build trust and educate before asking for the sale. I've seen pre-sales significantly outperform even if they're not built to the standards in terms of design, like maybe your main pages are built, because they're matching page type to intent. Okay, so test 10. Now, test 10 under this pillar is risk reversal, guarantees, return policy on page. So this one is massive. Test adding guarantees and return policy messaging right under your CTA. Don't bury it in the footer. Why? Right? Because the moment people hesitate, this feels expensive, or what if I regret it? Or they'll either bounce to Reddit, Google reviews, look you up on TikTok, or just leave. And sometimes they'll even go to a competitor that maybe has a guarantee right there and promoting 100% money back or try risk free. If they didn't see it there, they might not have found it. They might not know that you have this guarantee. So put it right by the buy button. 100% money back guarantee, or try risk free, or whatever your guarantee is. The goal is to keep customers moving from point A to point B without ever leaving the page to potentially get derailed by a rogue Reddit post or from some internet troll, or getting distracted and becoming another one of the 100 saved browser pages on their phone. And now I say this in terms of distracted because when you stop people from going from point A to point B within the customer journey, from your ad to your landing page to your checkout flow to ultimately purchasing, and getting distracted and trying to find out what your guarantee is, or just having that doubt in terms of that purchase, they're going to leave the page. And if they're really still interested, that's when they're going to do their research. That's when you can see like this rogue Reddit post that maybe some internet troll that had one bad experience posted something bad about your brand, and ultimately that can hurt your conversion rate. But if your funnel is set up in a way that everything that they need in terms of education, clarity, and guarantee and assurance and trust, like they'll easily go through that without getting derailed. And now I can literally go and do a whole video on what I call owning the research phase, or making sure your external narrative is clean, to press, to publisher mentions, to Reddit posts, to organic social posts. But start by locking this in on your own site first and having them not have to leave your site. So that's pillar number 2, build pages for your customer and not your brand ego, right? Talk what's in it for them. Comparison charts, above the fold clarity, sticky CTAs, benefit-led copy, pre-sale formats like pages, and guarantees are all big swing changes that can double your conversion rate when tested right. All right, so now let's talk about pillar 3, Building trust on site. Customers won't buy unless they believe your product will actually solve their problem, and they won't buy unless they feel safe giving you their money. So let's look at 5 high impact tests you can run to build trust directly on your site. Okay, so now we're on to test number 11. And this is what I call dynamic angle aware proof. Here's the simple version. Instead of just dumping all your reviews into one carousel, organize them by outcome. If your product helps with digestion, energy, and sleep, maybe let's think of like the AG1s or the green powders of the world, make sure each of those benefits has its own proof point on the page. That way, no matter what the problem someone clicked on your ad for, they see proof that it matches their need. Now, the more advanced version is if you've got the resources, build this out dynamically. Tie your review blocks to UTM parameters so that the proof matches the ad they've clicked on. If someone clicked on an ad about better digestion, the landing page should show digestion related reviews first. If they clicked for energy, it shows energy proof first. So that's confirmation bias in action, as we talked about earlier in this video. And it's one of those big swing tests that can drive immediate lifts in engagement and conversions. Okay, so test number 12. Set expectations to protect LTV or lifetime value. This one's critical, especially for subscription brands. A lot of companies overpromise to boost conversions, saying like feel results in 7 days. But then what happens is refunds spike, subscriptions turn, and your LTV collapses. So here's the test. Reframe your promises with realistic timelines. For example, if most customers see results in 2 to 3 months, say that, right? Most customers see results in 2 to 3 months. Or add a checklist, who this product is for and who's this not for. So yes, you'll lose some fast fix buyers, but the ones you do convert will stick longer, subscribe more, and give you the quality and quantity you need to scale efficiently. I've seen this play out where a brand didn't realize that, say, a customer cohort or a group of customers they've acquired had a significantly higher churn rate. They depended on this certain level of CAC to LTV ratio to ensure sustainable cash flow. So I'm warning you ahead of time to focus on customer quality from the start, and also monitor the LTV and churn of specific customer cohorts, correlating any fluctuations, good or bad, with changes made to your customer journey. Ultimately, to sum that up, is basically don't overpromise and then underdeliver, because you'll have issues in the long run in terms of your unit economics and your ability to scale, especially if you're a subscription brand. It's always good to set realistic expectations up front, and it might hurt a little bit on conversion rate, but ultimately it'll help in the long run. It's kind of the same promise or idea of like over discounting. Like you just run all these discounts, and the brands that are more strategic with their discounts or don't offer them, the premium brands, are often the ones with the higher quality of customers and long-term kind of win in terms of ability to scale. All right, so let's talk about test number 13 under this pillar 3. This is show me the evidence. That's what I call it, show me the evidence, which could be clinical proof, social proof. And I'll keep this one short. Test adding before and after pics, UGC, or even studies tied to your product claims. If you are in the health and wellness space, be careful. Don't exaggerate or falsify results. Not only does this erode trust potentially in the long run if this comes out, but there are also real legal and compliance risks. Instead, lean into authentic proof, share real customer stories, third-party reviews, and credible research, or even a simple X percentage of users noticed a difference in blank weeks, right? If you have the data, the key is to make your claims believable, relatable, and backed up by evidence. Because at the end of the day, prospects are just asking, what does this product do? Like they're asking, why should I believe you? And they're looking for something to relate themselves, to see themselves in your reviews and your social proof, so they can believe that they could get the same results. All right, so test number 14 under this pillar 3 is unboxing and value transparency. People want to know exactly what they're paying for. one of the most impactful tests I've run is adding a what's in the box section near the hero or shopping module, right? The buy box. Show the full kit, product guides, bonuses, then add value transparency, break it down into price per day or price per serving. An advanced version of this is layer in a UGC unboxing video if you have it. Customers can literally see the packaging arrive at their doorstep. This small test crushes sticker shock because it makes the value feel tangible. Instead of a $50 bottle, it becomes $1.23 per day, risk-free. So it's like a no-brainer, right? So there's two parts to that. So it's the unboxing video and then kind of breaking up like what value do they get into it. So if they're getting bonuses, like not only are you showing what's in it, but you're showing like what is the value of their getting of like, oh, it comes with a starter kit with the spoon and the shaker bottle, and the value is a no-brainer. And then at the same time, then break it into like a per day or something digestible where it's like, oh, this is less than your cup of coffee, right? If you ever seen an ad like that, I think Dose that liver supplement, which is it's like a juice supplement for liver health and cholesterol. And they do those really well where they can kind of compare that to like your cup of coffee and those ads for more of those premium products. It's only $1.23 per day. All right, so test number 15 is micro moment reassurance. Checkout is where most brands lose millions. People second guess, get distracted, or just abandon because doubts creep in. Testing micro moments of reassurance, exactly where those drop-offs happen, in cart and checkout, is going to help with your conversion rate, right? Simple version is a sticky bar that helps repeats the three things customers need: one promise, one proof, one protection. So, for example, this could be feel regular in 2 to 3 weeks. And then it goes into trusted by 50,000 plus customers. Then it says 100% money back guarantee. And the advanced version of this is carry that reinsurance strip across every checkout step. Add to cart, shipping, payments. Add these things like clear shipping costs before email capture, or a small panel with Shop Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal logos to boost trust. These are the micro moments that add big revenue. So that's pillar 3, building trust. And notice these aren't just generic reviews and star ratings. These are structured big swing tests, dynamic proof, expectation settings, inline evidence, unboxing transparency, and checkout reassurance. Run even 1 or 2 of these tests, and you'll see not only higher conversion rates, but higher quality of customers who stick around longer. The final pillar, pillar 4, which we know is checkout and lifecycle. And this is lifecycle, or being like your email, your SMS, your retention program. And honestly, this is where most brands leave the most money on the table, as I've already mentioned. You can spend all day optimizing ads and landing pages, but if your checkout leaks, your lifecycle isn't built, you're leaving money on the table. The crazy part is, these are usually the lowest hanging fruit fixes, or basically high reward, easy to do. So let's look at 5 tests that can drive some of the big wins. So now we're on to test number 16, and this is the first one in this pillar, which is checkout extensibility on Shopify 2.0. If you're on Shopify 2.0, hopefully you've already set up checkout extensibility since it's rolled out, but most brands never actually optimize it. The simple version is test one-page checkout flow, strip out unnecessary fields, or make sure it's as few clicks as possible. The advanced version would be go into Shopify checkout extensibility and customize and pre-fill shipping fields or reorder steps, add trust blocks or upsell modules. I've seen brands recover maybe 5 to 10% of lost revenue by cleaning up some checkout friction in that process, and also adding reinsurance, which was kind of the step of pillar number 3, and just saying like, hey, this is our guarantee. We're trusted by 50,000 customers. Like, this product will work and has worked, and adding reviews there. All right, so test number 17 is express payments and high ticket options. This is one of the fastest wins I've recommended every brand. The simple version is add Shop Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and PayPal. And these can cut abandon rates in half because people trust them and it's one click, right? Adding PayPal, especially overseas, if you're running in different countries outside the United States, can be huge in terms of conversion rates because that's trusted. So the advanced version of this is if you sell higher ticket products, test this like buy now, pay later type of options. So if you've used Affirm, like that's one of the vendors for this. And for wellness brands, add TrueMed so customers can use HSA or FSA dollars and make these options clearly visible, right? If you take HSA and FSA or Affirm, like put that right by the buy box. It's this assurance, this trust. If you're on iPhone, like make sure Apple Pay is clearly presentable and feels easy and safe right then and there to increase the conversion rate. Okay, so test number 18 under this pillar, pillar 4, is cart value gamification and post-purchase upsell. So this is like my favorite one. Most brands overlook this one, or some brands overlook this one, but the simple version is add a drawer upsell under the add to cart button, upgrade one-time buyers to subscriptions or monthly subscriptions to quarterly subscriptions in the cart. The advanced version of this is gamify the cart with thresholds. Add progress bars like $10 more for free shipping or spend $20 more for a free shaker bottle. And don't just stop there. Test post-purchase upsells. Once the customer has already purchased, show them the one-click offer. You've got nothing to lose. They're already paid. I've seen brands add 15 to 30% AOV on this alone with the post-purchase upsells. And now test number 19 is cart and checkout reassurance blocks. This one sounds simple, but it's a gold mine because most brands overlook it, yet it's super easy to implement. Test reassurance directly into cart and checkout. So that could be guarantee, return policy, shipping dates, even one testimonial. So when customers add to cart and the one click away from paying, doubts hit hardest. If you don't answer them right there and have this level of trust and reassurance, which I talked about in many of these other tests, I've mentioned this test throughout this video. So I've seen this one change add to cart purchase rates, which you should be tracking, change into the double digits positive. So let's say seen 20, 30%. I've even seen one brand this year, like a few months ago, like 40% increase. So clients who thought they've already optimized their whole customer journey, this is like a simple win, just like 3 bullets at the checkout process. Okay, so test 20 is your email and SMS capture. And I would add to this like the smart logic behind it. So put simply, it's how you optimize your email and SMS program. And the simple version is add a value-based pop-up. Maybe that's a discount, a quiz result, or a giveaway entry. So you're not paying Meta or Google every time you want to re-engage. The advanced version of this is get smart about your logic. Don't show some giant 10% off pop-up the second someone lands from a paid ad. They don't even know what your brand or product is about yet. You're still convincing them, and then you have this obtrusive pop-up. This can hurt conversion rate. Instead, trigger it by behavior. Maybe after 60 seconds on the page, or if they scroll back up, or if they're about to exit. Then build a segmented flow. So that could be cart abandoners get a recovery flow. Quiz takers, or people that take the quiz that want to be educated, get more of an education flow. And whatever the product selection that they landed on with that quiz, they get retargeted with. Post-purchase customers get cross-sells and win-backs. So maybe you already acquired that customer, you were able to convert them, which is great, but they didn't take that post-purchase upsell, or maybe they did. But either way, like you can still retarget them with cross-sells, win-backs, get them on a subscription, and continue that customer journey in terms of increasing your LTV and your unit economics, which is ultimately going to allow you to scale further. And this is where I take CRO to as a growth marketer beyond what like you'll see any of these YouTube videos, or you talk to anyone that's just focusing on, oh, it's how your landing page converts, like what's your Shopify conversion rate. It's not about that. It's about customer journey. It's about what is the process from first touch point to as long as they're in your file, and how much revenue can you squeeze out of them? How much can you help your customer? It's a win-win. So this is owned growth, and done right, lifecycle flows can drive significant revenue, all from traffic you've already paid for. And that's pillar 4, checkout and lifecycle. Clean up your checkout with Shopify extensibility if you're not already rolled out with that. If you're on Shopify, if you're not, maybe you have a custom flow, that's fine too. Add the right payment options, gamify your cart post-purchase, reassure them at the last mile, and capture and re-engage people with smart email and SMS logic. Together, these 5 tests can add 6-7 figures to your revenue on maybe a 7-8 figure brand, and they're often ignored because those teams are focused on the ad side. So, or the ad, or what I was just talking about in terms of the landing page. Okay, so that's the 20 CRO tests you can run under the 4 pillars we talked about in this video. The mindset I want to leave you with is this. As a growth marketer, we wear a lot of hats. You've got limited resources, and that means you can't test everything. You've got to pick your shots. Focus on the kinds of tests that, if they've worked, actually move the needle, not just on conversion rate, but on revenue, on retention, and on scale. That doesn't mean you ignore small tweaks. Those can add up, and you should always be diagnosing and improving. But it does mean you prioritize the big swings. You ask yourself, if this works, does it change my business in a meaningful way? And don't just throw a page live and hope it performs. Be a real growth marketer. And that's what this channel is about. Watch screen recordings, check out heat maps, track the entire funnel, not just your top KPIs like conversion rate. Look at how many people are clicking your CTA, how many are upgrading to your subscriptions, where people are dropping in checkout. And sometimes you'll miss a few times, but it only takes one win to pay for all of those losses. And if you want a full breakdown of the 20 tests in one place and the notes from this video, the cheat sheet is linked in the description below. And when you grab it, you'll also get access to my free weekly newsletter where I share more strategies like this. And hey, if this video gave you value, hit the like and the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment if you've got a question or if there's a CRO test you think I should cover in a future video. And most importantly, drop a comment if you decided to run one of these tests this week. Thanks for your time and see you in the next video.